Well, a good Saturday to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist John Dawson. This is the YouTube tropical update. Want to make sure that you're staying up to date with all the activity happening. And if you can't sense the sarcasm that I have there, it's a little bit of sarcasm because things are quiet. That's going to be a good report. So we're excited to be able to share that the tropics are quiet. And for this time of the year, we would expect to see that as we're getting to the end of November. We were always expecting to see much less activity overall happening. And so if you'll just probably taken a look at this chart before, but definitely in the middle of September is when we peak as far as activity happening, historically speaking. And then we get through October and we see that drop and we get into November. It's just not a lot happening. And then, of course, the last day of November is the official end to hurricane season. But we are aware that sometimes a tropical system could actually form after the end of the official season, and they would still use the same names. So we'll be talking about a little bit more about that tomorrow as far as the names are concerned. But just a quick look at what's happening out there in the Atlantic basin. Again, very quiet, nothing organized as far as tropical characteristics. Definitely seeing some showers and storms with no tropical characteristics really happening over close to the equator. We've got a front that you can see that boundary that's sort of forming out into the Atlantic that rolled through the U.S. This is really where we would most likely see anything happen if it were to form in November. And remember that our National Hurricane Center, they basically sort of forecast out for 5 days, and they have said, you know, we're not looking for anything to form over the next 5 days. So even though this boundary's here, and this is sometimes where we might see something happening, it's just not likely to see anything happening, at least for the next 5 days, even with a boundary that's set up like this. And we've been watching a lot of convection happening over in the Caribbean, and that has really dried up. We're not seeing any of that at the moment. You can take this all the way back to kind of see that boundary of an old front that's sort of laying across there. But when we switch real quick to our water vapor imagery, which is the upper levels of the atmosphere, and really shows us where things are dry or where there's a lot of moisture, these oranges and blacks representing some very dry air. Look how much of that is really just all over the Gulf of Mexico except for the southeast corner here. So that's going to prevent anything from forming and certainly going to keep anything from heading towards southeast Texas. And we've been glancing out in the Pacific here for just a little bit as part of our review of the very little that's happening, and even less showers and storms happening out in the Pacific than what's been happening over the last several days. So over across really the whole globe, things are fairly quiet, not just here in the Atlantic, and that is expected this time of the year as we've been talking about. I'd like to connect with you if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. I'm always looking for a few more Instagram followers, as a matter of fact. So pick up your cell phone there, punch in @John Dawson, Fox 26, and I'd love to hear from you.